Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be making these cute little tri-fold pockets, or I don't even know what they're called. These multi-fold pockets. There's 3 little pockets in the front and one is a side open pocket for putting larger things. They're really simple to make. They take like minutes to make. I'm going to show you. See, this one is open and then these 3 in the front are shut. Perfect for stashing all your little items. Now you can make these any size whatsoever. You just need a sheet of paper or cardstock. If you're doing this with cardstock, you won't have to double this up later, but I'm doing it with papers because there's much more variety of papers in my house than there is cardstock. You want to figure out the height you want your pocket to be at the back and the height you want your pocket to be at the front. So your tallest part and your shortest part. And you're just basically going to cut a line from there to there. This is the most simple way to make these. And there's no wrong or right way of measuring this. This can be made to any size that you see fit. Okay, then you're going to take your bit of paper and you're going to fold it completely in half, lining up your bottom edge. And then you're going to fold the front one to the first edge, line up the bottom edge, turn it over and fold the back one in the exact same way. And that is the basis for this pocket, but we're not going to leave it there. We're going to make this a little bit sturdier. But look how simple that was. And this is what I mean, it could be any size. Now depending on what side you want your paper to be showing, you can refold it the opposite way if you prefer the other side of your paper. It doesn't really matter. Now I'm just trying to figure out which side I liked best, and I think I like that one. Okay, so once you've folded it, you're going to grab a pencil and you want to mark the fronts of your, I don't know why I kept refolding it. I think I was just trying to decide which way I wanted it. I decided it was that way after all. You're going to grab a pencil and you're going to mark a little X on every one of your fronts if you're doubling up your paper like I'm going to be doing. And this is how we get the different patterns on the front that is from the back, because we're going to glue on extra paper. This is going to make it more sturdy, and it means that you can play around with the patterns, which means you could have started with a plain piece of white copier paper because you can cover it all up. Okay, so I'm just diving into my stash and I have this toadstool scrapbook paper. It's slightly card-like but not too thick, and I'm just going to glue it onto the first flap, so the first X on my rear part of my pockets. I'm just going to cover it all in UHU glue. Use whatever adhesive you prefer, and to get it to line up, just hold it in a way that you can see the fold and line up with the edge of the fold, and that should get it nice and straight. Once it's in there, you can smooth it down and then just turn it over and trim off the excess. I am all bunged up today. I am a sufferer of hay fever, so when we get into summer, I walk around like I've got a major flu. I just have a really weird hay fever. This happens to me every single year. I get like really bunged up with a sore throat, but I don't get the normal hay fever symptoms like itchy eyes and stuff. I just get like a bad flu. Okay, see, as you can see, the next X that I'm going to do is the 3rd page in, because I want that to match my very back page. I like to alternate my patterns, but you could do every page the same. I just constantly go back and check that I'm doing the right one before I stick things together by refolding it. I'm just going to glue the bit of paper in there, and this can work with absolutely any style, any theme. You decorate this any way you see fit, whatever your style is. Once again, just fold up that edge. Now make sure you put it high enough so that you're covering the whole, I didn't do it there, the whole entirety of that little page. Smooth it down, turn it over and trim. Now the good thing about this being all one strip and not being adhered in the beginning is you can fold the pages out of the way to cut down each of your added pieces of paper like I'm doing now. So you just fold it out the way. It just makes it easy when it comes to trimming. Don't have to line anything up beforehand, you just trim as you go. Now here I made a mistake. I accidentally trimmed the bottom, as you can see, so I'm going to show you how to fix that if you do the exact same silly thing as me. Just take yourself a scrap of paper, because this is an inside page anyway, and you're just going to grab yourself some glue. I realised my UHU glue is running out. I've almost got to the end of my 2 sticks of glue. I think I need to buy some more. That shows how much I've been using it. So I'm just going to glue this strip of paper. I'm going to fight with my glue stick because it's running out. Do you have any suggestions for a good glue to use, or do you also use the UHU glue? I need a stick one because now these are running out. I'll need to replace it. And then you're just going to glue that along the line of your bottom piece of paper and then refold it in there. See? Perfect. Nobody knows. And it's on the inside, so no one's ever going to see it. So that was a quick little repair to our mistake. So once I've done that, I'm going to go back to sorting my fronts. Now, I could have left these just as they were, but I really am not a big fan of the way the paper is looking. So I'm going to add pretty much a similar paper on top of it just to make it stronger. I'm also going to get my UHU glue out of the way. I'm going to add this paper. You don't need to do all these steps. If you started with cardstock in the beginning, it's just a case of decorating it and skipping all this layering of patterned paper. But I like having the ability to alternate the patterns and make it a little cuter so that your little pocket's a little more decorated. So I'm going to cover these bits of the paper with some vintage notebook paper. Now these are actually from Amazon. These are a printed like paper pad. So if you're looking for any of the things I use in my videos, always check my Amazon link below. It's to the storefront where I keep everything I've ever bought on Amazon. So these will be in there, these vintage pages. They're like school pages and ledger pages all in one handy dandy book, and they're quite convincing. I mean, when you take them out the book, they actually look pretty real. So I'm trimming this down again without cutting more of my pockets apart by accident. And then we're also going to cover the last bit of paper in the middle too. So once I've done that, I am so bad at trimming. I just keep refolding this to make sure I'm always working on the right bit, and I can see my last little X that needs covered. It's all gonna be perfect. And I realised I really liked the writing on this account part, this ledger book, so I'm going to use that bit. Cover that whole thing. Now I went a little bit if you notice I switched to Pret Stick, it's because my UH glue actually ran out. I went a little bit too Pret Stick happy and got it onto the next page. Don't do that. Don't be me. Don't make silly mistakes that I make. Take this as a how to do this and the mistakes you might make, but you shouldn't, because now you've seen me do it, you won't make those mistakes. Be smarter than me. Okay, I'm just trimming this one down, and then we have all the fronts of our pocket covered, and it's made our paper so much more sturdy. So I'm just going to have one little fold back together to see everything's covered. Looks cute. You could stop here, but you know, I really like my grungy oldie, like it's been buried in a dirty manky damp cottage for 200 years and someone's just pulled it out. So here I am with a vintage photo, and even though a lot of my glue is still wet in the edges, I don't care because it just adds to the dirtiness. As you can see, that big splodge was just glue. That was the page that is sticking to my finger because I overused my Pret Stick. I really need to get that stickiness away because it will adhere my pocket closed if I don't. Luckily Pret Stick is quite fast drying. So I'm just going to go and ink the edges. Now you really only need to ink the ones that are going to be visible if this is going to be glued into a journal. You don't need to ink every single part, just the ones on show, and just fold your book and have a look at it. Book, no, pockets, and then you'll see exactly where you need to ink. You don't even need to ink all the way down to the bottoms because these pockets are going to be closed. So you only really need to do the top halves. Apart from this back page, it's going to be open on two sides. So you need to do the whole long side down here that I'm just doing now, and the bottom edge. So those two edges definitely need to be done, and obviously the top edge. And then I'm just going to go around and just smooth it out a bit. Check again. Constantly folded it the wrong way. Constantly fold it up and have a look at while you're working. It's the best way to see where you need to ink. Now I want to put something on the front because it's a nice big bare patch. I mean, if you've used patterned paper there, then you don't need to do this. I'm going for the toadstool theme because this is actually for my grimoire that I'm working on. I'm working on a woodland nature grimoire that has toadstools aplenty in it. So that's where this is going to go. Kind of everything I've been making lately is with a nod towards that grimoire, so that's why everything's been kind of in the same style. I'm just going in with my tea stain stamps. There is a variety of stamps in my Amazon link, and some of them have similar tea stains to these. I think the main splodgy one is discontinued, but the other stamps should be in my basket. And now I'm going to find the stamp for the very front. Now, I have a mushroom stamp that I think would go perfect for this, and to tie in that little bit of red that I've used, I'm going to use my, I think it's called Lumberjack Plaid. Okay, so here's the oval toadstool stamp. It's one of my most recent purchases on Amazon, so it should be near the top of my little storefront. And then we're going in with my red ink, sticking that on the front like so. I feel like I'm sniffing down the microphone. It probably doesn't help that I'm doing gardening every single day because we're renovating the garden, so I'm outside amongst the object of my allergy, and I feel like I've got a full bore cold, but I'll probably have it for the next foreseeable few months because it's hay fever, so you might just have to get used to me sniffing all the time. So because that looks a little bit lonelier, I'm going to stick another stamp underneath it. This one just says important because it is. Anything with toadstools is obviously important. They're the most importantest. And I almost stuck on upside down, but luckily I realised, because I can actually read, that it was not the right way, and I stuck it on perfectly well. Actually, it was pretty cool. I like that. I like that I chose the important one because it was important. Okay, so now what is left to do? Ink our edges for a second time, but this time just to using our ink pad to just, dirty it up a wee bit. It sort of frames the whole thing. Now I do the outside first, and then I'm going to open it up and get the individual pages. It's just to be sure I'm getting all the parts that are on show. So the best way if you're going to do this is to do the front and the back if you're going to do this method. So just slightly tilt your ink pad nearer towards you when you're working on this side, and it'll put most of the ink on this side, and then when you turn it over, do it again, and it gives both sides an equal little thin line of ink, which is really cute. It makes it like framed it and brings out all those edges. Okay, so now we're going to go in with just some plain clear school glue. Now the front one, we are going to glue the bottom edge and the open edge. Go fold it over, close it down. I'm going to open the next bit, get it in line first, and we're going to do the same again, the open edge and the bottom edge, like so. We'll go close it over, and then the last one we're only going to do the bottom edge because we want this to be an open pocket, so you can put larger things in this one. And we'll go close that one. So you're going to put something heavy on that and leave that to dry, and that is our pocket pretty much done. Now you could obviously go and start making the things that you're going to put in it. So this one I've already got that is nice and dry, that I made like separately when I was testing this out. I'm going to stick in a little journaling card, which I actually think looks better than that one, and stick in a tag or two just to show you all the pockets and how this looks when it is filled with stuff. It's pretty cute. I like it. And the one that I've just made is obviously for my grimoire. I'm going to show you how I would use this in my journal. I'm just going to grab my grimoire. Yes, that is me wiping my nose on my sleeve like a toddler, but I'm stuck behind the microphone and I don't have a tissue. Luckily, I'm just going in the shower after this, so these clothes will be changed. This is the grimoire I'm working on. It doesn't have a cover yet. It's a work in progress. Some pages look really ugly right now. And I'm just going to glue it in here. I think this is the perfect page for it. So I glue the entirety of the back of this, like so, all the way around, and then fill it in. Just clear school glue. This glue is pretty decent, and I think it's actually the Prit brand as well. I'm just going to glue that in there, ready for sticking some items to this page. Well, not sticking, but you know what I mean, slotting them in. So that's an ugly page. That's a work in progress. This whole thing I'm just working through randomly. See, I've been making little bits from the videos for them, and I'll show you that one day when it's finished. But we are done, and I hope you liked this project, and I'll catch you in the next one.